let her tell it. People on the streets say Sabrina speaks. Tune into the show, she will let you know. Tell all your friends and family. Real talk is no joke. You get the news straight up from grassroots and concerns. You hear some people gone. So tell all your friends to tune in to
Good evening, Cayman. I'm Sabrina Turner, and welcome to Sabrina Speaks, your daily dose of clarity, truth, and community insights. Every weekday from 5 to 6:30 p.m., we're tackling the issues that affect you, from national headlines to grassroots concerns. Whether you're in traffic or winding down your day, this is your chance to hear it straight and speak your truth. So buckle up, Cayman. We're not holding back.
This is the show. We gotta let you know. Now we got to go.
And now here's Sabrina.
Hello. Good to be back with you. Good evening, good morning, good night. Yes, yes, yes to all of my friends and family streaming in from all corners of the world. Oh, I've been seeing you and I've been communicating with you. Good evening, but more so at home. Welcome, welcome to another episode of Sabrina Speaks right here on the CMR platform. We are Voices of the Islands, Conversations for the World, and the podcast where voices rise, stories unfold, and inspiration continues to take center stage. Yes, what a epic weekend it has been. Yes, I hope that all of you have had I don't know what to say, whether or not it's restful. I don't even know how to put it, because some of you are still possibly in celebration mode. Some of you are in depression. Like, I know some of my friends here, I've gotten 1-2 messages, but you know what? Like this common saying, you know, how, especially from Jamaica, they say hush. Yeah, tomorrow will be brighter. And that's not hush as in rude, but those of you who know what I'm saying, especially that cultural thing, you know exactly where I'm going with that. But yes, for this episode of Sabrina Speaks, I know you all are hungry. There was no show from the Cold Hard Truth this morning. Sandra, she'll be back with you tomorrow. I'm still here holding it down in the evening for you. And today we're going to just share, you know, just slide into the week. We're going to share some of the brief recaps, because it is still a lot of talks right now on a lot of people's chats. Social media has been blowing up. The memes started going exactly the minute that last whistle blew. And yeah, it's mixed completely. All sorts of stuff you got coming out there. So in this episode of Sabrina Speaks, we'll kind of do some recaps on that. And guess what? I'm going to start it today. Maybe we can go in some more, but if time permits, I will actually delve into it some more, because I have gotten approached by a number of persons. I was out and about this weekend. I was out and about this weekend, and a couple of people approached me. One person actually showed me an email that they got on their device from WORC that was telling them that they needed to do an annual declaration. Now, knowing this individual personally, I was like, what? But I had heard rumblings during the week about annual declarations and human resources department stressing and sorry, just let me pull this up. You know, putting pressure on a lot of their staff, saying, you got to do this annual declaration now, go and do it now. We don't want to get in problems. Hold up, exhale, stop. That's all I can tell you right now. Exhale. In this segment of Sabrina Speaks, we're going to break it down. We're going to break it down based on what the law has said. And yes, you may have gotten an email, but you have the right to respond. If you got that email and you are the holder of any certificate RERC, spouse of Caymanian, spouse of permanent resident, civil partner, right to be Caymanian, RERC holder for being the parent of a Caymanian child. And that was granted, let's say, from 2024, 2019, 2020, before May 1st of 2026. Stop. We're going to explain that to you a little bit more on this, but you have a right to respond back to the email. But I do not want you running down there, going to pay a fee, going to file an annual declaration, because you're protected. But stick with me this evening on Sabrina Speaks for another informing, engaging, and yes, information sharing with you as we buckle down into another hopefully exciting episode of Sabrina Speaks, kicking off this new week here in July. And for all of you who are going off to the US right now, especially Florida, those sales are on, zero tax for a month, kicked off today. On school supply stuff, from laptops to pencils, crayon, binders, you name it, anything for back to school. That kicked off today. And I know a lot of you, we've gotten, hey, look at the deal that we're getting here coming from the Cayman Islands, because we got that $1,000 thing, thanks to our government for giving us that. But also, if you're over there for an entire month, effective today, especially in the state of Florida, you can go and you can purchase back to school supplies, no taxes on all of those stuff. So stick and stay with me today for sure. I know some of you nurses on the wounds, I know. And I had family over as we go into the show. I had family over, just a few of us, very close family over. And I'll share with you the highlights on that, how that went down, but it was fun. Put it like this. Can you picture me with a big old pudding pan, no wooden spoon? Yeah, I had to pull it out, but I was actually getting at family. I was really provoking family in a nice way, but it was really good. We came to one conclusion though. Any future games like that, we cannot go out in public. We have to stay in our personal space. That's how badly behaved we are. But please do remember to continue to follow, share, like, and subscribe so you don't miss an episode of Sabrina Speaks. And yes, it's not hard to find us when you do that. It is also good to hear from you here. And I want you to get your feedback as well. It should be if you were one of those persons who have received, or your human resources department is just stressing you out, saying you got to do this annual declaration. But yeah, I want to hear from all of you here this evening. But before we go into all of the recaps of this weekend's highlights and all that sort of stuff, please remember the views expressed by callers, guests, and online commenters are their own and not those of Bridge Media Limited and its affiliates, the Sabrina Speaks show, or the host. This program is for general information only and not a substitute for legal, medical, financial, or professional advice. Now, all participants are reminded, however, to speak responsibly, respectfully, and any content that is defamatory, discriminatory, unlawful, or harmful is strictly prohibited and will not be endorsed or tolerated. By continuing listening, streaming, whatever platform, however you're hearing me live, yes, that participation implies acceptance of this disclaimer. And the number, should you be thinking, well, how can I join in on this live conversation? Or even send her a WhatsApp. You can do that. 345-936-8255 to WhatsApp or join in live on the conversation. So yes, as we see you continuing here to bill and come, I see my numbers coming up here and commenting, which we love to know that you're all here. I see you, North Carolina love. What did you do? Are you weeping and mourning, or are you celebrating? Which one are you, North Carolina love? You know who I'm talking to. Before we get into the shout outs and birthdays and all of that sort of stuff, and picking at some of my diehard commenters here, giving them their moment, because we appreciate you. And of course, our content creators in bloom. We got some beautiful images to share here with you this afternoon as well. Let's take a look at what's happening with our weather forecast. Compliments of our friends there at the Cayman Islands National Weather Service, letting us know what to expect for tonight and into tomorrow. We see where the forecast, the synopsis is calling for possible showers that can be expected as a low-level trough coupled with favorable upper level conditions are affecting the Cayman area. Now, light to gentle winds and seas are expected due to the slack pressure gradient, and radar imageries are showing some showers south of Grand Cayman that are drifting northwest, as well as stationary patches of showers to the southwest of the sister islands. For that, our forecast for this evening and into tonight is calling for tonight partly cloudy skies with cloudy spells and 30% chance of showers with possible thunder. Temperatures will fall near the low 80s. Winds will be east to northeast, 5 to 10 knots. Now, seas will be slight with wave heights of 1 to 3 feet. And tomorrow, the forecast is calling for partly cloudy skies with a 20% chance of showers and a light haze, mainly during the afternoon into the nighttime. Temperatures, however, will rise near the low to mid 90s with a heat index of 107 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, winds will be mainly easterly, 5 to 10 knots, and seas will be slight with wave heights of 1 to 3 feet. There will be a low tide at 10:04 p.m. this evening, a high tide at 2:56 a.m., and another low at 9:57 a.m. tomorrow. Sun will set this evening at 7:04 and sunrise tomorrow morning at 5:59. Now, the outlook is calling for a light haze that is expected to intrude Tuesday afternoon ahead of a tropical wave that is expected late on Wednesday, when there can be an increase in cloudiness and showers with possible thunder through Thursday. There you have it. God knows we don't need any more dust. I'm hoping this forecast holds and that for sure we will get some rains coming through very shortly to kill all of that. Now let's take a look at what's happening and what has made local news here on the Sabrina Speaks show here for this evening, Monday, July 20th. Starting with local news. We see where agricultural officials have confirmed a highly contagious poultry disease on several farms across Grand Cayman, prompting stepped-up surveillance and preparations for a vaccination and biosecurity campaign to protect the island's poultry industry. Now, authorities says the situation is being closely monitored, and farmers will receive guidance as enhanced protective measures roll out. Now, the goal is to contain the spread quickly and safeguard local population. What you're seeing here on the screen is what is to be identified by those farmers and how the symptoms and signs of lesions of the infections can appear on those chickens. We also have locally that the police are investigating a death of a woman found unresponsive on Friday afternoon at an address off Batabanu Road in West Bay. Now, emergency services attended and she was later pronounced deceased by the attending doctor. The Royal Cayman Islands Police Service confirms the woman was a 30-year-old Canadian national residing in Cayman. Officer says the matter remains an active investigation and have extended condolences to her family and friends during this difficult time. In other news making Cayman, Sabrina Speaks headlines for this evening, we see the Jamaican consulate in the Cayman Islands is reminding parents that if you are a Jamaican national and your child is born here in the Cayman Islands, there is an important requirement to follow. Your child must first obtain a Jamaican citizenship before becoming eligible for a Jamaican passport. Now, they are encouraging you for guidance on the citizenship application process. The consulate is encouraging families to get in touch directly with them, and more information can be found on jaconsulateCayman.org or by calling 949-9526. That's 949-9526. We see the National Roads Authority, together with the Ministry of Planning, Lands, Agriculture, Housing and Infrastructure, is advising motorists to schedule nighttime paving on Shamrock Road between Pedro Castle Road and Savannah area. Now, works run from Monday, that's today, July 20th through Wednesday, the 22nd of July, beginning each night at 8 p.m. and continuing until 4 a.m. The area remains an active construction zone, and drivers are urged to slow down, observe the 25-mile-per-hour speed limit, and stay alert for construction crews. Large trucks and heavy equipment will be actively in this area. The Ministry of Planning, Lands, Agriculture, and Infrastructure, along with the NRA, wants to thank the public for their patience as these essential upgrades are completed. As we wrap up the local segment here today, the Lions Club of Tropical Gardens opened the new Lionistic year in worship at First Baptist Church, where Pastor Bentley delivered a message titled Looking Up from Brokenness. Now, his reminder to serve with compassion and hope set the tone for the year ahead. Members say they have left renewed and ready for another impactful season of service in the community that they serve. Congratulations on them. And I'm wishing them all the best. Although, you know, I got a special place in my heart for these guys. Let's take a look at what's happening regional here this evening. Yes, because authorities in New York today took a suspect into custody after an incendiary device detonated outside a federal building that houses multiple agencies, including ICE and the FBI, along with Immigration Services. Firefighter says 4 people suffered minor non-life-threatening injuries and 1 taken to the hospital. Sources describe the suspect as an anti-ICE activist who arrived with a cart displaying the message of ICE off our streets. A federal protective service officer swiftly tackled and detained the individual, sustaining minor injuries during the incident, and according to the Department of Homeland Security. Also out of the U.S., we see where the U.S. Food and Drug Administration says that new data points to shredded iceberg lettuce from Taylor Farms in Mexico as a likely source of the ongoing cyclosporiasis outbreak. Now, federal investigators are still working to confirm the link, but the product has emerged as a common factor among reported cases. Health officials continue, however, urging the public to wash all fresh produce thoroughly and seek medical care if they develop persistent gastrointestinal symptoms, especially after consuming prepackaged salads or leafy greens. We head over to the pond, head over across the pond this evening because, yes, His Majesty King Charles III today received Andy Burnham and in audience at Buckingham Palace, where he invited the leader of the Labour Party to form the new government following the resignation of Sir Keir Starmer. Now, Mr. Burnham accepted the invitation and has now become the United Kingdom's 59th Prime Minister. The transition marks a significant moment in British politics as the new administration prepares to take office. As we take a look right now at our business markets closings for today, U.S. markets closed lower today. And the Dow fell 307 points to 51,839. S&P 500 slipped by 14 points, and the Nasdaq was nearly flat, down just 12 points. The Russell 2000 also dipped, losing 19 points on the day. Analyst says that rising oil prices and lingering pressure in tech keeps markets subdued as investors remain cautious heading into the week. That includes our news and business roundup here for this evening on the Sabrina Speaks Show. And we want to take this opportunity to just swing straight in and share and recognize those persons who are celebrating a birthday today. Yeah. Best wishes. And if you celebrated them over the weekend, I'm sorry that you were overshadowed with the final games of FIFA. That's okay. We celebrate you still. If that gave you even more attention, more opportunity, to scream even louder for your birthday. Well, from all of us here on the Sabrina Speaks show, we definitely want to wish you happy birthday, wishing you many, many more as well. And best wishes going out to you. And the same we do for all of those who may be celebrating a wedding anniversary, or you just be celebrating life. Yeah, no matter what it is. From all of us, we're sending you lots of love here from the Sabrina Speaks family. That is definitely for sure. And we know that we have those who are amongst us. We have those who are amongst us who are not as happy. They're mourning the loss of a loved one, and we want to let you know that you are in our prayers. We keep you close and dear to us as you navigate this difficult and challenging time. Our thoughts and prayers go out to you, during this time. And again, that's from all of us here on the Sabrina Speaks family for sure. Yeah. Let's see what's happening on the community, because there's some information that I got to share with you, from updates to even the closure of temporary dock closures. Kimmabrack, be aware, Kimmabrack family and friends. The general public is advised that the temporary closure of the Cemetery Parent Scott's dock launch and ramp, and that's going to take place tomorrow through Friday the 24th. Now, please note that this closure is to facilitate ongoing necessary maintenance of the ramp. And should you need more information, that's over there in Caymanbrack, you are encouraged to call 948-2237 or the District Commissioner's office at 948-2222. So please note that this dock will be not accessible starting from tomorrow, and that runs until the 24th of this month for necessary repairs. And look, remember this auction, CBC, yes, Customs and Border Control Service will be hosting a public auction on Saturday, the 1st of August from 10 until 2, and that's going to be at its headquarters in Owen Roberts Drive. Now, what is expected of this auction is that there will be a wide range of undeclared and seized goods that will be available, including electronics, clothing, school supplies, automotive parts, cosmetics, and home and fitness items. And all sales, you're reminded that all sales are final, with full payment required immediately by cash or approved cards, okay? And what this auction is saying is that successful bidders must remove purchased items immediately. CBC says that the auction offers the public a chance to secure useful goods at competitive prices. So this all goes down on Saturday, the 1st of August from 10 until 2, and that's at their headquarters at 42 Owen Roberts Drive, right here in our capital, Georgetown, Cayman Islands. Another interesting thing, RIC to our residents of Red Bay and Prospect, but more so for those right now that this is going to be an active zone. You're going to be seeing a lot of works going on here. And I'm talking about the Eddie Sanchez Park, and that borders Prospect Drive and Victory Avenue. Now, there is going to be some works that is going to be ongoing there, and the public is encouraged to, once you're in this area, that you're going to see some heavy working going on there, meaning, excuse me, they're about to do some upgrades and finalize this park. Now, what is expected in here is that they're going to be preparing this park. This is the outline here that you can see. It looks like a wishbone, like a dog bone, but you can see, you can access this from Prospect Drive and Victoria Avenue. So what they're going to be doing right now is they're going to be placing facilities. It's going to be a multi-sports court designed for pickleball and basketball. Now, this new court will be enclosed by, and hopefully, a durable and commercial grade chain link fence as for security, okay? So what they're going to be doing anytime right now, which is why you're seeing all of this machinery there, if you live within the area or just going across, is that they're removing the topsoil in order to prepare the place, as the asphalt then will be put down. And then this work will go into straight into September. So there's lots of stuff that's going to be going on here. But the good thing is that this is going to be a place where there's going to be a pickleball and a basketball court. This has been ongoing, oh my God, for so much years. I know that the Red Bay and Prospect Community Group and all the residents within the Prospect Park now remove political boundaries. They must be so happy to see this get on the way. So what is actually look for in the future as well is that they're hoping to get national CCTVs in place here, even some restrooms, and facility lighting, and even some shaded gathering areas throughout the park is a long time forecasted enhancements and improvements. There are some there, as we already have that, But right now, what is active and what you're seeing going on there is to put down this pickleball court and a court for multi-purpose, including that of a basketball. So congratulations for all who continue to advocate for this, and definitely for the Red Bay Prospect community group for not easing up, and definitely looking forward to bringing this into fruition, because it can bring so much to a space and definitely a community. Donnie is in the house today. Good evening, Donnie. How are you? Hope you had a fabulous weekend. Well, are you one of those that's nursing your wounds, or you are one of those that is just celebrating? Some of you are afraid to say, and I can understand why. Oh my gosh, I didn't realize people would get so emotional and so caught up into football. Oh my goodness, you got to almost be careful what you say, definitely. And Dawn is sharing with us some beautiful flowers for today. Look at that. Look at those beautiful orchids that she has shared with us. Go girl, I see you. Donnie is sharing beautiful orchid bloom today. And yes, I know you may not say, well, where's Connie? She's normally the first one. Connie is stuck in the office, but she assured me she's listening, and it didn't stop her from providing her beautiful flower of the day as well. These two ladies are my content creators. Look at her. She shows up. These two are content creators in bloom, really loyalists, like so much of you as well. Who constantly show up here. And for those who even give us and share sceneries with us, we appreciate you as well. And we love sharing them. So Alfred Reel must be chowing down something very heavy. He's gone very quiet, or he's just still trying to come up from that carne asada that he shared with us. Yes, North Carolina love. Good evening to you, my love. My team Spain won the World Cup. I'm so happy. You know what? I'll save something. I'll come back to that in a minute for what I'm realizing here, specifically here, in the social media space. I'll say something what I'm seeing, because I thought it was Argentina and then I thought it was Brazil. Well, maybe it's because now you had to choose between the last two, but I still, let me see something. Let's see. Miss Barbara G, good evening to you as well. It's good to have you here with us this evening as well, joining in and commenting. Always good to have you with us for sure. Yo, Donnie says she's celebrating too. That's right, girl. Yes, Donnie is celebrating. Connie she's a ride or die. Connie was, she needed to see the doctor. Or the heart specialist, maybe? Which one? She is still recovering, but still good spirit. She was still able to produce a beautiful flower. I hope that brought her joy. But it's only 4 years. You never can tell. Look. Somebody had to win. But I tell you what, I'll say more in the middle of the of our show, because I'm going to cover that in a couple of minutes. Damian Henry is here with us, staying up late as usual, and he's saying, "Happy Monday. Wisdom teaches us that not everything in life can be rushed, and patience gives us the strength to endure what cannot yet be changed. Through patience, we learn, we grow, and we gain the clarity to make better decisions. While knowledge tells us what is possible, wisdom teaches us when to act, and patience gives us the courage to wait for the right time. Patience is the companion of wisdom." Yes, mess with you. Thank you, my dear. Damien, are you celebrating or are you in mourning today? Talking about the FIFA. Yeah, see, she's here. She's in traffic. Oh, yes, her heart is broken. She's trying to repair it. Oh, yes, darling, you and many more. I am quite sure that it's just amazing. The reels that popped out of nowhere as this came to an end. It's like social media just started blowing up. Some of them are quite funny, to be honest with you. Some are very funny. And that is what is so interesting, to be honest. Some of the funny memes. Oh my goodness. I don't know where people get the get that from. They're so creative with that. And it's amazing. Oh my goodness. Marshall, what do you say? No weeping for me. Around here, honey, just joy. OMG. It looks as though, let me say that now. It seems as though a lot of people, for whatever reason, preferred the winnings to Spain. I don't know. That's the sentiment that is on the ground. And you're gonna have good. I respect those because in my family, we got diehard, ride or die, you name it, persons of Argentina, no matter what. But it seems to me overall that people were really, really happy with the results. And if you have to do it based on the play, which I'll go into here, including the halftime and all that good stuff, I would say they earned it. They really, really did a hell of a job. They kept the pressure on. I said it at the family gathering here that that the goalkeeper from Spain was just having a field day because hardly ever did the ball go down there. So that was pretty, yeah, he had a field day, to be honest. He was just relaxing, chilling out in the shade. And the results, you could see it, you could feel it, you could feel that momentum building. You could definitely feel it building for sure. So to each his own, it is over. And I know a lot of you today were out of place at work, whether or not it was the hype of just just recapping and people now are declaring. I saw some videos even with persons who walked in with Argentina jerseys on. Now it could be a strategy as well because we can see how rowdy the crowds have been. But what they did is that they changed off their Argentinian jersey and put on their Spain jersey. And they started to celebrate. Now, OMG, what do you say about that? But they would have walked in, of course, with Argentina. And then at the end, when the final whistle blew, then they took it off and they put on Spain jersey. Yeah, so it is interesting. But here we go. I saw this meme that caught my attention today. It says, that moment the final whistle blow and life remind you is me again, babes. Because plenty of you are catching up on your chores. Plenty of you are wandering off. Like, what are we going to do? What are we going to do for the next couple? Yeah. So for all of you where your partners, significant others, all of those, it's just amazing. How are you going to cope? What's going to happen? Yeah, this one caught my attention today for sure. Marshall said, Argentina are racist. Do you see any Black players on their team? That has been making its rounds as well in a lot of commentary. To be honest with you. And more you're coming out. But, of course, with games like this, you'll have the good side, you'll have the bad side. Where was all of this prior to? So, yeah, but that is very profound. That's making its way. Obviously, the algorithms is picking up about this statement that Marshall here is making. And it's very interesting. I wonder if they will change the team. Very solemn moment, though, for their coach when he was speaking. And I'm taking that he somewhat admitted that there's a lack of team spirit, teamwork in there. And even though, and I'm paraphrasing, that, it was a heck of a job to put a team like that together, he did publicly convey how challenging putting a team like that together could be. What are your thoughts on that? Because I didn't see with all the young players right now that is definitely making their name. I mean, we see the star boy from Spain. He's 19 years old, and we see what he's doing. But if it lines with what Marshall is saying, maybe the wrong pigmentation. I don't know. Maybe they need to change that and look beyond the color of skin if this allegation is indeed to be true, because we see where even the U.S. players have gotten persons from Africa on their teams. I mean, all of those teams have people of color on them. So maybe there is some truth to that if you want to look at it through that lens, that aside. But I think there's a lot that was not said from the coach where they just lost, possibly because of team spirit. And we saw that they all played as a team from others. But even those diehard fans who honestly are true with themselves it was a hard game. Both sides tackled. Both sides should have been fouled on different things, whatever the case may be. But if you had to be honest, when you looked at who played the game yesterday, kudos go out to Spain. They came to play ball. And from a diehard Argentina fan who was in my presence, they're like, they think that they went out, from their opinion, they felt that Argentina went out saying, look, we got this. We're just going to make this run out to penalties. We got it when it comes to penalties until the first goal was scored. And then that's when they tried to heat up their momentum. Now, that's not me. I'm just paraphrasing from a die-hard Argentina fan, but one who was true with their observations. Now, and I think if you really are fair with yourself, you can actually see where things really heated up after that first game went on. I think they were just hoping maybe there were going to be no scores, that it really played out to penalties. And we know what happens in penalties, but it didn't work out that way. And definitely the winners are the winners. And congratulations to Spain. I see where in Barcelona right now that crowds are coming out in droves as they welcome. They've had marches, and the team has arrived back home safely, thank God. And they're embarking on their new journey. Lots of good things came out of that. Connie is saying most of them are the Brazil wagonist. Yes, they played very well. Thank you. See, even diehard Argentinian fans are saying that Spain did play very well yesterday, to be honest with you. Yeah. The speech was on TikTok. Oh, okay. Wagonist demanti. Can't fool me. Wore my jersey till the end. And I see plenty. Yeah, I see plenty of them still. Look, it's a ride or die. It's a ride or die. Somebody got to win, right? Somebody got to win. Damian Henry is saying, I'm glad Spain won, even though it's not my team. Champions of the Europe and the world. Connie's also weighing him. Racism is everywhere, even here. Most of you all have displayed racism towards, I'm thinking Argentina too. Argentina too. Okay. Like I said, I'm not out there. I am very, like I said, all through this entire FIFA thing. I know a lot of you don't like that with me when I say my team never lost a match in this. Nope. And it's because I respect it. It's like religion and all that sort of. There's just certain things you just don't get into. Oh, let me share a joke with you. I was in Cost-U-Less on Saturday. Standing up, and I wish I could find this gentleman just to hear what his feelings are like today. There was a gentleman, a native from West Bay, because the accent was so strong. And he came in pushing his car, and I mean, he echoed Cost-U-Less. Argentina, we gone with this. I mean, he had the, hey, let me tell you something. If there is somebody who was an ambassador of Argentina in the public, it is that guy. And for all of you who were in Cost-U-Less at that particular time on Saturday afternoon, I'm quite sure you know exactly. If you were close to the checkout area, I was in line. You would have heard this gentleman. I mean, he had Cost-U-Less for himself. Anyhow, there were two other gentlemen, obviously, who knew this gentleman from West Bay. And one looked at the other gentleman and said, yours, Bobo. In true Caymanian West Bay form, right? And you say, yo, can't do nothing with him. I got to own him. He one of us. He's mine. And, I just stayed there, looked at this. This gentleman is just picking up Argentina. And out of all that was going on yesterday, when I saw Spain won, the first person came to my mind was that man from West Bay. Oh my goodness. I wonder how he's doing today. But I must tell you, I admired his confidence. That was his team. There was nothing getting between the cart, him, and everybody, no matter what team you were on. He would team Argentina. And I liked the two gentlemen that were, of course, at different checkout stands, totally different lines. They literally had a full-on conversation just with their eyes. And, eventually they acknowledge he one of us. We got to keep him. It is what it is. He's one of us. But to all of my West Bay people, if you know who I'm talking about, because I don't care about it small, I would really love to hear from him today, not in a making fun of, but to applaud him for his confidence. And it just goes to show the man not prejudiced with who he was supporting. And he just took over the supermarket. Nobody was, of course, intimidated. He was nobody was scared or anything. But the man pushed his cart inside, and he just echoed. He echoed "Cost You Less" on Saturday afternoon. But it was just all fun. You could feel it building up. You could just feel it just building up. So, Connie, let me tell you something. If you want somebody to go on that, we got to find that gentleman from West Bay. I personally do not know either the three men. But I know, like how they said they own him, they were all our people. But I personally do not know either the three of them. But I knew that they were our Caymanians. And you would never know based on their reactions, though, whether or not they were for or not Argentina. But I know one thing for sure. They claim him. Oh, yeah. They claim him and they say, he won us. But the other one say, hey, he yours, he yours. He say, yeah. Mm-hmm. He won us. We got to keep him. That was funny as heck. So I had to share that one, but I'm hoping at some point in time that I would be able to cross paths. I think I would be able to identify him if I saw him again, but it would have to be in the same setting, not necessarily saying very much. Bitch, it seems like his personality, he wouldn't give two shakes of a duck's feather what you think. That's just his personality I got from that exchange and what I witnessed on Saturday. But it was fun. It was fun seeing them. Connie's killing herself laughing, and Damian Henry's weighing in. The World Cup allows individuals to research and look into history of Argentina and racism. And I'm seeing that as well. And not only that, for what these host countries, and that is the big announcement as well that's coming out, host countries, and what's the huge takeaway. But because I know a lot of you are just tuning in, I want to just say welcome to all of those persons who are just joining us this evening. So we're getting a lighter mode and lighter tune of the beginning of this episode here, just reminiscing about the weekend. I'm quite sure a lot of you have stories, whether you decided to take in the game at one of those hosting parties, or a local watering hole of your choice. I saw where a hotel or a couple hotels provided a watch party as well. Huge ballrooms were turned into like big cinematic type theme, and you pay an entry fee, and you had all of your snacks and all that sort of stuff, and it was amazing. I saw one where Spain won, and you knew who was automatically, just by the landscape of that room, who were Team Argentina. And then the few who stood up boldly, like they didn't care. Of course, their team won. And yeah, but oh my gosh, it was so good. And I knew that a lot of the places were just overflowing with people. So we know what that has done locally, even to our economy. Whether you chose to do it at home, I still had to go to the supermarket to top up on some snacks and that sort of stuff for the grill, for the oven, you name it, whatever it was. It still forced me to go out where else. Otherwise, I would not have necessarily go out, because the family, we all came together, and I was invited to other watch parties as well. I know a friend who said, trying to entice me with 20 pounds of beef. No, I hardly eat beef. But no, that was not the turn off. But what I'm saying is, they were just preparing. And I got a couple of invites to go to other locations as well. So I can just imagine what it did for our economy here as well this weekend. So yes, for those of you just joining us, lighthearted moment as we reminisce about the weekend. And definitely starting off with Saturday, that was a huge thing where England, England and France gave us that 10-goal explosion. But you see how that ended up, where England came out swinging and France came out fighting. Yes, the scoreboard at the end of the day, you know who won. 10 scores altogether. Of course, England went home with 6-4. I think with how they played at that last match, taking home third, is it third place? Yeah, if they had played like that for the entire term, oh my gosh. You think England, we would have had a holiday? Who to tell? But that was something that if you wanted your heart to be pounding and all that sort of stuff, that match on Saturday was something, of course, that set the stage for Sunday's episode. And that came into what is now making all of the commentary is, come on, let's celebrate Spain. It was almost, what, 80 odd thousand people there on Sunday in that Spain versus Argentina game where Spain took it home with that one. And we know it went to 100 in that 106th minute. I had to get the notes here. Then, you know, they lifted a trophy. This is what 80,000 people kind of looks like. Do you realize that's almost the entire population of the Cayman Islands? That's exactly how much people were there. Now, conversation came up whether or not we could deal with that, that crowd personally, whether or not one could take in that kind of crowd. Oh my goodness, but these are real pictures. And that is what it looked like for different vantage points of that stadium yesterday, of all of those persons taking in that game. And then, of course, we see where the World Cup, you know, has brought, and all of the prizes and gifts were actually awarded. And that golden ball, of course, each person I'm seeing got this. And of course, the ring, we did an entire segment on the ring. Each player got a ring. And silver ball went to Messi of Argentina. This is a gold ball that I'm seeing. This is the World Cup itself. And then I see where the golden boot went to Mbappe, yeah, of France. So yeah, but these are quite interesting how these all turned out. And of course, the bronze boot went to Bellingham of England. Messi ended up with the silver boot for golds. And then the golden glove went for best goalkeeper of Spain. That is Simon of Spain. He went with the golden boot. And then Fair Play Award was taken home by Netherlands. So we saw that. Now, what were your thoughts, if you mind sharing with me, of the halftime show? I'm getting mixed reviews on the halftime show. Like, people were not for it, saying that it is too Americanized. It is not what it is. And then, wow, the national anthem that was sung. Oh my goodness, what a pair of vocals there that we saw on display. So yeah, people, I'm getting mixed on that, on the national anthem sung by Jennifer Hudson. And not everybody was too pleased with that. Not the anthem, but the halftime show overall. So yeah, but we saw where Shakira, we saw Justin Bieber, and even Madonna participating in the halftime concert. And, you know, I mean, that's the time that you top up on your snacks, whatever beverages you were doing. You just talked about all sorts of stuff, and to not give away too much secrets. The conversation was just so comical here at home with family. We just laughed. We laughed. We went from one thing to the other. It just showed exactly the type of crazy family that I have. And of course, at the end of that, look there, those flags are the waiting for the 2030 World Cup. Will be hosted by Morocco, Portugal, and Spain. They were announced, and with special, they're going to have special matches also in Uruguay, Argentina, and Paraguay. And that's in celebration of their cross continental celebrations of 100 years of football. So in addition to all of this, there's still so much more that's to look forward to. But the host country is definitely one that will be waiting for 2030. Now, a lot of conversation I saw come up as well in regards to what each country takes home. And I'm going to give you this quickly before I go into the annual declaration conversation, which I know a couple of you are waiting on to hear that clarification. But the Spain winnings is US $50 million. And that is the official FIFA prize money. They also take home the World Cup trophy, global prestige, and they get this whole renaissance and welcome naturally back in their home. Now, Argentina earns about 34 million is what I can find. as runners-up. And even England took home 29 million for 30 for coming in third place. And France earned themselves a good old 27 million for coming in fourth. So it's not like these teams didn't really go home with anything. And you know how it is right now, because we saw where Norway is getting attention, Cabo Verde is getting a lot of attention. All of these countries that you really never heard about, they're getting all of this attention, and tourism interest, even on social media, has skyrocketed. But definitely, Holland has won the hearts of many. Cabo Verde as well has won the hearts of many. And now that Spain, after 10 years, 2010, I think, was the last time that they won. Now they have taken it back. And you know what that can do for their national impact of Spain. There's going to see now a huge surge in youth football participation, and their pride, I'm hoping, has been restored and renewed in that national pride. And here we go. Just because of this money, they can show, and hopefully will have an increased investment in football development there. So there you have it. And those were the awards, what happens, and all of that good stuff. So it's going to be very interesting 4 years as we find our feet, but I'm understanding that there's a Euro game and other games and all that sort of stuff that takes place. So I'll definitely be following it. I have one of those that caught the bug. I never used to follow football until this World Cup. So I don't know if it's maturity. I don't know why it is. But your girl has followed this one for sure. We got a caller. Good evening. Are you nursing your wounds, or are you hoarse, or just trying to get back your voice from celebration? Which one are you?
Well, neither one of those, because, this is one match where I didn't care much. It doesn't sound very good. I didn't care who won, but on marginally, I thought that, it was good that Spain won, for one or two reasons. But otherwise, I didn't have like a very strong feeling.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that sometimes when the thing about sports is like you tend to enjoy them more when you support one side strongly and it wins, because then you are really happy. And then because if you support the one that loses, then when it loses, you are really sad.
I guess then that's why I don't actually fall for any. I just said, I was honest when I told you my team has not lost a match, because I never was in pretty much sports, Mr. Samamba. I never usually follow sports. I would sit down and watch a good game of basketball, every now and again, volleyball. I'd like to take in a good little NASCAR race every now and again. I'm not going to be a bummer or pooper, your party pooper, no. But to say get that invested into Brazil, like how I see some people, I've never been one of those persons. But even now, I enjoyed all of them because I was not diehard any. And I think that's why it was different for me.
Well, you see, sport is very funny, right? Because look, I like if you grow up in a particular area, right? Like the little football team where I grew up and so on, I've always supported them and that kind of thing. But it's very funny sometimes you can join a match and you are watching it on TV and you do not even know who is playing. It might be one of these insignificant matches. But within 10 or 20 minutes, you will start supporting one side. You will say, well, I like the ones in blue. I like the one. Right. I mean, it's almost illogical. There's just a certain thing. Yeah, it's really, really interesting. I mean, what we try to avoid, of course, is I know somebody, a friend I used to have in the British Virgin Islands. He was one of those who felt so bad when his team won, that even before the game, he would try to avoid really getting hyped up. He says, I don't want to support too much because in case they lose, then I'm going to be very sad. This was a man who was already in his 50s. I thought by that time he would have learned how to control his emotions.
Oh my goodness. No, but I can tell you the truth. For somebody who really did not have a side in what you described is exactly how I ended up being as I watch each match. And
Yeah.
it's amazing. Your heart skips a beat. And then because by then emotionally you're getting connected based on how that one is playing and da 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 da. And then you see them, oh my
Yeah.
God. And then your emotions go up and down. And I'm like, oh,
Well,
this is why I do not go die hard on any one country. No, it'll kill you.
Look, and you know, when I was in England way back for about 5 months studying, I used to watch a lot of soccer. And what happened was I was a British Council scholarship, although that's not the main part of the story. The British Council was given 5 tickets to watch the FA Cup final between Manchester United and Arsenal.
Mm-hmm.
And so what you did was there were like 800 British Council scholarship students. So basically you put in your like a ticket like it was a lottery. They said, okay, those of you who want to go to the match, you just go and sign a little form, and then they'll put it in the box, and then the 5 which will come out of that, about 800, then will go to the final. Mine came out, and I went to see the final in 1979. Man, I mean, I had been to matches at Stamford Bridge in Chelsea because I lived close by there. And I even had like a little card, you know, for membership. It was more like a memento or anything. But when I went to the final itself, just the atmosphere, even TV doesn't capture it, you know. I mean, people drinking, the way
it's
they
just amazing. It's
the,
amazing.
It is just something else. But, you know, talking about, you were saying that you're not too much into sports and so on. It's amazing. When I came to the Caribbean in 1997, the original time I came to Cayman in 2003, but to the Caribbean in 1997, I was not too much into cricket. I got into cricket. And then I got into American football. I got into it, and up to now I'm into it so much that if you are playing, if there's a cup final, maybe European Cup final in the UK, in Europe, and there is just a regular league game of American football, I will watch the American football.
Okay.
That's how much.
Wow.
And yet I didn't grow up on that. But once I learned the rules, I started watching it and getting into the personalities. It became really great. But you see, we're talking about the halftime show. I didn't watch the halftime show, but it's just interesting how everything really in sport is moving towards being Americanized. I think last time when I called, I talked about how, you know, initially the European teams didn't put the names
on the back of the shirts
behind.
On the back of the jerseys.
Exactly. And yet in America, they've been doing that for a very long time. And now we've got VAR, which existed in America for a long time. And I think that trend is likely to continue. And now we've got a halftime show. Can you imagine in the World Cup, they never used to have really a halftime show?
Correct. Which is what some of the commentators, what I love, I must tell you something. The difference between us here in the Cayman Islands and the commentators in the United Kingdom, oh my God, they don't have no filter. Those guys, they call it as it is. And to us, we'd be like, how rude, what a pompous, you know what? Oh, that's bollocks. Yeah. They call it whatever it is. And oh my goodness, they are not having it for sure. It's not actually accepted by them. And just their commentary on it is it just blows my mind. Of course, there are other countries as well who does not see it, and why. They're asking why, and they're hoping. They're even, you know, scuffing at the leader of FIFA. And then a lot of talk that's coming out as well with the final picture of the president of the United States, whether he was not briefed that after you do the one picture with you and the head of FIFA, that you slip towards the side. Or just come off the stage so that they can have their moment. Of course, he stayed there longer than expected. And now based on one's perception, I watched the whole thing. He did not come off in an appropriate time. And that's now getting some flashback. But to not take away from that, my thing is, if you have to try and follow American politics now with this current leader, it's almost like, okay, Mr. Balika, you and I are going to go to an art gallery, but all of the pieces is going to be abstract. There is no way. You got to go with an open mind, because how you're going to perceive something and how I perceive it, it's abstract art. None of us are wrong in this particular case for that analogy. I think that's how we have to look at that in order for us to just continue moving. You're going to have to always think you're in an abstract art gallery and how you perceive it and how it could be. That's how I have to look at that without taking away from the moment. But that moment is also making a lot of headlines. This last picture.
Actually, I was going to say something about that as well, because, well, you see, what you're saying is correct, because a lot of these things are questions of interpretation. It's like, for example, when you're doing a class in English literature or any literature course, you read the story and then there are interpretations. Do you think this character intended to do A, B, C? And then you say, well, different people will construe it differently. And that's part of the academic study of it. But talking about that issue specifically, I know that the way he behaved was such that a lot of people read it into his broader character to say, well, because you see, he always wants to be top dog, and so he didn't want to leave the stage. Now, I won't rule that out, but I also don't rule out the fact that, as you say, he might not have been briefed. Okay? It's like, you see, in America, if I remember correctly, in the American sports, when they give them the trophy, the owner of the team is there as well. In Europe, they don't do it like that. In Europe, it's always just the team. But you see, with him, it is possible that maybe he wasn't quite sure what he was supposed to do. And then the president then went there and sort of tried to politely tell him, no, it's not your moment, you know. So I think, I mean, it is possible that it was another sign of his egotistical self. But it's also another sign that maybe he wasn't quite briefed and it wasn't alive to him that, hey, look, this is not for you, because this is an unfamiliar thing, although he did the same thing with the club championship.
Yes, I saw another clipping with that. So again, whether or not one is not brief or he's doing it his way, who knows?
Like he's in an unfamiliar situation.
It's abstract. That's the only how you're going to survive his presidency. Look at anything he does as abstract art. And that's just being as diplomatic as I can be.
Yeah, it is. Now, before I leave you, Sabrina, we've got a new prime minister.
Yes, I did that in the news.
Yes, you did that, and we've got a new prime minister. And of course, there's always the talk about, well, what is there for the overseas territories, from Cayman in particular, and there will always be that. Personally, with me, I would say I think maybe I would always wish that there's good governance in Cayman. Not that it's bad, but I think there are some instances where it's bad. So that's one thing. But the main thing that I wanted to comment on, do you see how undemocratic the system in the UK is? Burnham was a minister, I think, under the Gordon Brown government, and he was an MP. Then he left. He became mayor of Manchester, and only in the last few weeks or months, he ran in a by-election and won to become just an MP. And really, before he starts even work as an MP, he is now prime minister. Do you think that is right? Nobody voted for him. I mean, to me, that is one of the most awkward, doesn't quite capture it, undemocratic system in the British system. This idea that whenever there is a coup in your party and they remove you, then you become leader of the party. Then so long as your party has got the majority in the House, in Parliament, then you become prime minister. No. And I think in the Cayman Islands, I think we are thinking about the right thing, in that I know James Whittaker put out something some time back, and an article about that, because his view also was that if I remember correctly, that the prime minister should be directly elected. Okay, but he went so far, I think, as to say that even the ministries should be decided, like the portfolios they take should be decided in an election. I don't know if I remember that correctly, but I know that
I can't break it down, right? But yeah, there was some. It was a very broad thing, and I think the takeaway from that is don't do what they're doing. Don't have a system like what the UK has. Yeah.
Exactly, and I think that's good, because I also don't agree with this system where well, they've got even some presidential systems where the president is elected by parliament and all that. And even in America, I don't even agree also with the American system of electing a president, although that's a little bit better than the UK. Because in the American system, if you remember correctly, in the original constitution, the president was not even supposed to be elected by the people. He was supposed to be elected, and was in the first years elected by the legislatures. But then they found out that the legislatures were being corrupted and this and that. So they said, no. Let the people vote. And then when they vote, then the legislature can certify the vote. Okay, and so we don't usually think of that in the American system, but actually that's why the legislatures have to certify the vote, because they are the ones who still have the power to elect the president. But they decided to do it that way. But even that, again, I don't agree with. I'll close on this. In the country where I come from, the way you elect the president is that every 5 years you get 2 votes. You get the MP's vote and the presidential vote. And you go and cast your vote for both. And the presidential vote, the way it is counted is not like by way of electoral college, which is translated into the number of electoral votes, but it is counted as 1 vote. So they will say, a person who got 4 million won. Okay, so that you can never have this idea that you won the popular vote but you lost the electoral college. This can never be. I think that's the
very
best.
interesting commentary.
Let me leave you there.
I'm going to bring about something that's going to probably spark your interest, but I want to about the annual declaration. People are receiving WORC emails, but hold on, because there's a commentary relative to in relation to what you're saying. He will be replaced soon, as they always have dirt on each other or breaking protocols. Damian Henry hits a nail here on the head, and he's actually living in the UK right now. And I think what has happened, based on how at the end of the day he was actually put into office, and how prime ministers are very short-lived. One trip up, and he's going to probably be just as short-lived. I'm hoping that that's not the case, because God knows the UK is asking for stability. But if he replays the accounts that you so nicely articulated as to how he's now been appointed, where is democracy there? And I feel at the end of the day, once the dust settles and people accept this, it's up to the people to decide whether or not their democracy has been eroded, has been totally moved, pulled away from them now. And as you rightfully say, as long as you have the numbers, once you're elected, you're in. I don't think it's going to, there may be some celebration here for a short time, but I'm quite sure this will come back up as a very loud, or we will see headlines saying otherwise in short order.
Yeah, you know, I really, you just jogged my memory on another thing. Because they say that Burnham is likely to be there for about 2-3 years, because he says he doesn't plan to call a snap election.
Correct.
That's another issue. Why should the prime minister be the one who decides when an election takes place?
Well,
okay.
But it's for the people to educate themselves. It's for the people to get hungry and push for what they want. And this is where, silence in this case, and sitting back, you take what you get. Or you come together, stand and build unity, and you go for, if you want a democratic society, then you do what you have to do. Now, that's not inciting violence. That's not doing, anything. But this is just how, if you want to stand up for your democracy and do what you have to do outside that, guess what? The elected arm will decide for you whether or not you like it.
Exactly. You know, it's very interesting that Rishi Sunak, when he got elected as prime minister, not elected, he was appointed really by the he was elected in a sense by the MPs. The 2 ladies who were running against him, Penny Mordaunt and the other one, both were beating him in public opinion polls. Both of them were beating him in public opinion polls. And yet when it came to the MPs voting, he had enough votes in parliament to be prime minister. Do you see?
Wow.
Again, it's the same syndrome like in the US. You win the popular vote, but you lose the election, or the other way around. But to me, I think that is something that needs to be looked at. It's good that in Cayman that people are looking at that. There's also the issue of recalling MPs. I know that one prominent member of the public also called for that, to say, well, if MPs go in, they should be recalled under some circumstances. But again, whenever you do that, you have, because stability of government is also
Exactly, it's
something you want
critical.
you
Yes,
want
you
to
got to be
have.
careful.
So where you got to be careful. Where do you draw the balance? You remember some time back they used to talk about Japan. Japan had, the UK has had like 7 prime ministers in 10 years. That used to happen in Japan and Italy, and sometimes it was even worse. But those 2 countries now have stabilized. They are not having such changes, of in prime ministership. And the one that we expected to be stable, the British one, now is a problem.
Oh, in
I
shambles.
think they need. I think they need to look at that and see if they can give it some stability while at the same time promoting democracy. Well,
Okay.
thanks again,
Thank you,
Sabrina.
sir.
Always nice to. Thanks very much. We'll
Sure.
talk soon.
Okay. Bye-bye. We want to thank Mr. Belika for calling in and weighing in today. And yes, Damian Henry has commented here and says he will be replaced. Oh, I read that already. And this one, it's funny how people don't even get a say. They always sort it out by themselves. Well, it's up for the people of the United Kingdom now to actually go and educate themselves and stand up for what they want. I mean, that if you do the back end story on exactly how this has come to fruition, that speaks volumes. Let's turn our focus now and go into the conversation because, like I said at the top of the show, I have been reached directly, more so over the weekend, but from last week I've been hearing some rumblings, and what I'm talking about is the annual declaration. You know that recently we went through an immigration reform that took effect on the 1st of May this year. 1st of May 2006. We had multiple shows on this, the 2026 immigration reform, but we're going to be focusing on the annual declarations. I did an entire segment on this, right? Where it says any person who, we spoke about the grandfather clause, we spoke about who would be subjected to these annual fees, annual declaration, and the fee of being $100, who is grandfathered, why some people are receiving letters. I want to go into that a little bit, but not the why, because I leave it out of respect for, at some point, some public statement may be made. I don't know. But based on what the law is saying, understanding the grandfather's clause is specifically why I'm going to educate you, the public. We have not had anything contrary to say what was put into the public domain has changed after May 1st, and what more so what was put in law. Okay. In accordance to the Immigration Protection Act of 2026 that was introduced, they introduced new compliance and monitoring rules in that legislation, annual declarations for certain categories, and updated definitions of Caymanian status, new fees under the fees of regulations as well. And there was also a transitional provisions that was protecting existing certificate holders. Now, we noticed that there is the WORC guidebook updated in June, and this is constantly being updated, and it's causing mayhem. I shared that with you in an earlier segment in speaking to people where they're literally pulling their hair out of their head, because even though it is trying to update these guidebooks, it is hard to find where those major changes and updates took place without proper guidance. Okay. But in this WORC guidebook, I thanked the persons who are working on it. But then with all of these changes that are happening so quickly, and it's causing some confusion. People are having a hard time keeping up with it. But this guidebook explains how the new system works, which categories in this guidebook as well must file annual applications or declarations, and which categories are exempt. Again, in that guidebook, it had how transitional provisions were going to apply. Now, here's the heart of the confusion that is definitely making headlines. Human resources are pressuring their RERC certificate holders, even status holders, persons who are holders of RERC certificates. One I saw with my two eyes that were granted from 2020, they received an email saying, hey, you need to do an annual declaration and pay $100. I'm like, no, you're grandfathered in. What are you talking about? Hold on. This is the heart of the confusion. Okay. This is not to point fingers. This is not to disrespect anyone. This is just breaking it easy, trying to be as diplomatic as I can to educate the public on what's law. The Caymanian Protection Act of 2026 includes the transitional provisions section stating any certificate, permit, or visa granted before the 1st of May 2026 continues under its existing conditions until it expires, is canceled, or revoked, meaning it's taken away. Let me repeat that. In accordance with the Caymanian Protection Act of 2026, includes a transitional provision sections that clearly states any certificate, any work permit, any visa granted before May 1st of 2026 continues under its existing conditions until it expires, it's revoked, taken away, or is canceled. And this, my friends, applies to RERC, parents of Caymanian child or children, RERC, spouse of Caymanians, spouse of PMCs, RERC, residence and employment rights certificate for other categories, permanent residence, right to be Caymanian, Caymanian status, granted before the 1st of May. What this means, my friends, despite you all incorrectly, because that staff right now is being pressured. And there's a little line that I want to use. Quality over quantity. In some of these mistakes, because I want this now, no, that is going to possibly lead to some serious lawsuits if someone do not slow it down just a little bit out of respect for the workers who right now are under a lot of pressure. So what I mean when I said what I said in regards to these different categories, if you are already the holder of Caymanian status, all of those certificates that I mentioned, before the 1st of May of 2026, you are grandfathered into the system. Your certificate continues under the old law. The legal foundation that was granted to you under, you are not subjected to paying no $100, and you're not subjected to filing no annual declaration. Miss Sabrina, but we got the email. Errors can happen. If you get a letter, if you get an email, and you know you are the holder of a certificate a year ago, 3 years ago, 6 years ago, before the 1st of May, you have the right to respond back to the email and said, I've received this email telling me that I need to file an annual declaration and pay the requisite fee of $100, but I draw to your attention that my certificate was granted prior to, before the 1st of May, and in accordance to your law, I meet the requirements to have been grandfathered in, therefore not required to file such a declaration or pay such a fee. You humbly ask for them to revisit this communication and you await their response. Please, my friends, do not do it, because obviously it is an error. There has been no public laws that were changed that says otherwise. I personally have seen one letter, and I know that for a fact, that this receipt of this email correspondence telling this individual to come in and file an annual declaration when the individual has been the holder of a certificate that's 6 years old. That individual does not require any form of submission of a declaration, neither do they have to pay a fee. So if you find yourselves, and HR is telling people, there are some businesses where their bosses are pressuring them to go and file this annual declaration, do not fall for that. That is an error. It is a miscommunication, misinformation that is in circulation. And unfortunately, there has been some communications out of the very said department of WORC, and they can't speak on behalf of them, but from very reliable sources. Please, anybody who has gotten a letter or an email, just respond back. Do not panic. Do not run down there to file no declaration or pay no fee. If you know you were granted your certificates, your approval of status before the 1st of May. I don't know how much clearer I can get it. I'm not the minister. I'm not the director of work, but this is what I constantly talk about. Get ahead of the narrative. Just do a simple clarification. The annual declarations, those persons who have to do this annual declaration and pay the $100 under the new law, in accordance to the Caymanian Protection Fees Regulations of 2026, that $100 fee applies to anyone filing this declaration by a person granted the right to be Caymanian under Section 26A of the Act, and certain categories granted after the 1st of May, 2026. Yes, anything granted after the 1st of May. Now, if by chance you get this letter or you get this email, you either go in person, which is right now flooding down there, and I get to understand that for whatever communication is being communicated or not, receiving officers are collecting these fees, and they're collecting these monies from people that do not have to pay. They're not supposed to be there, because these persons would have been persons who were granted this and their certificates before the 1st of May. The only ones who are paying anything are those persons, certain categories of RERC granted after the 1st of May, 2026. Okay? So if you've received your RERC letter before the 1st of May, the law does not require you to file an application of a declaration. Yeah. Where I think this possibly have gone wrong, not speaking on behalf of anybody, please don't misread me, is that they are probably communicating the new system. Okay? And more than likely, they're using annual declaration as a universal check-in tool. Whether or not it's something that's automatically spitting it out, I don't know, but it looks as though the system is picking up grants before the 1st of May and therefore generating these letters that is just not aligning with what the law says. So even though you have gotten an official email correspondence from your official government, WORC, who is the responsible body for issuing that, if you know that your certificate was issued and dated prior to May 1st, it is not impossible for a glitch to have taken place. What is bad is if they're receiving money from persons who are paying this fee and they know that it is wrong. Well, I'm no lawyer, I'm not going to split it, but I will strongly suggest that anybody who has actually received a letter, that you seek legal guidance, be it you take it upon yourself to go to a learned attorney or a specialist in immigration law who is trusted and can advise you accordingly, or you take it upon yourself to go and speak to someone within the status and the permanent residency section as of today for clarification. But more than likely, if you've gotten an email, the easiest way right now for paper trail is for you to respond back to that email, pointing out the obvious as to when your certificate was granted, comparison to what the law is saying, and you're unaware of any legislative changes. So you are questioning them you're asking them to revisit their communication and kindly rectify their communication according to law. I know some of you may be a little intimidated. Some of you are nervous, but I can tell you there is power in knowledge. There's power in when you know. And I can assure you, with what's happening possibly behind the scenes, and out of respect for someone who used to do that job, the more informed the public is, the better it is for even the employees and the workers behind the scenes at WORC. Because right now, someone is going to possibly challenge this if this continues, and that is only going to possibly lead to lawsuits, and guess whose expense? Now, I stand to be corrected. Attorney General's chambers, should somebody challenge this, because it is happening. And if somebody can prove that they've received this, if someone can prove that they've received this, and there's no public official sources to say that you may have received a letter, knowing from us, knowing that you were granted prior to the 1st of May, please check our offices to clarify. We have had some glitches in the system. Trust me, I don't know how. But outside correcting it and controlling the narrative, here we go again, opening ourselves up for lawsuits. And it only takes somebody to challenge the system. We are hemorrhaging. We are hemorrhaging monies, the people's purse, because we're not communicating clearly. We're not covering ourselves. And of course, with the environment that we are now facing, people are nervous, but it's even bad when people go for additional clarification and they're being told incorrect information or information that is contrary to what the law, the regulations, and policies should be as it surrounds this particular case. So at the end of the day, we've even had lawyers confirming in the public's domains, learned persons who are saying that, you know, anything is persons who were granted their certificates prior to May 1st are protected. But you're getting this letter saying that you need to provide your declarations. People are confused, and it is causing a problem. Now, if this is something that you're just arbitrarily messaging persons, fine. But there is some wording, obviously, that is needed to say you, all of those who are granted prior to the 1st of May, this is just a matter of letting you know that legislation have changed. However, you have been exempted from filing, but we're just keeping the line of communication open. It's something with the narrative that is causing a lot of problems. And I'm doing a public appeal to actually just try and correct this, because it is causing some serious hardship. People are already slapped with other things. And I know you're going to have those who are saying, well, Christ, what's so big? What's $100 if they get it wrong? To some, that's a difference in a huge, they're spending for their light bill and so forth. Maybe that's the difference that they need for their license, for their driver's license. Even though now that has been a change, that has been amended to attract them and put all of these persons with these RERC certificates as Caymanians. But bottom line is, and there's not even a joke about it, to be honest, these persons should not be subjected to that, especially if you receive some communication that has on the description the characteristics that you have to pay $100 and file this declaration if you were granted your residency, your Caymanian status before May 1st. That is not even funny, to be honest. Live Happy saying, I am sorry, Sabrina. There's something I don't understand. Why is an employer associated with this matter of annual declaration of an employee? Okay, I can explain that, Live Happy. If you are a permanent resident holder, let's say you're here for 8 years, each year you have to pay a fee. If you're working with my company and you're on my payroll, I pay medical, I pay all of that sort of stuff, and whatever arrangement sometimes that you have made, sometimes that annual fee is paid by the employer out of good faith, out of gratitude. Sometimes the employers pay it 50-50. It is good that an employer is saying, look, go and double check or go and pay this annual fee, because that's them doing their due diligence. If somebody is working with a company that their RERC certificate, Residence and Employment Rights Certificate, attracts an annual fee, then as an employer, I'm doing my duty to make sure that as long as you remain on my payroll, that you are in good standing with immigration, with WORC. So I can see where those who have to pay a fee, where an employer would actually be on the money. But what happens to those persons who there is no fee? Like a person married to a Caymanian, spouse of a PR holder, well, they could attract fees. Civil partnership, in this case that I'm referring to, spouse of a mother of a Caymanian child, and that does not attract a fee. Now, the annual declaration that the law is saying is that those persons are now having to go down and file this declaration of and pay $100. And that's not the case, because all of these certificates that were granted before the 1st of May do not have to file an annual declaration. Now, if you're on an RERC for 8 years, where annually you pay your annual right to work fee, that is a different case. That's a 2-for-1. You were already doing that. The ones that I'm talking about, okay, are those RERC certificates where there is no fee associated, but were granted before the 1st of May. There is nothing in the law or that has been amended, and I stand to be corrected, that mandates these people to do an annual declaration and pay $100 fee. No, there's nothing in there. These persons would have been protected. They would have been grandfathered in, and whatever law that was in effect as of the 1st of May, 2006, that they got it under, would hold. Nothing changes. So I can see where some employers who are not versed with the law would be a bit confused or saying, hey, I hear that you got to do this annual declaration because you're married to Kimani, you got a status. The bit that they're missing is only if that was approved after the 1st of May. If your boss is telling you, go ahead and file this annual declaration, and you're not here on the 8th year, where each year you pay a right to work fee, those are the only ones that has to continue to do that, right? But anybody else that was granted before the 1st of May that do not have an annual fee attached to it, you don't have to do no annual declaration, is the takeaway. So I'm hoping that I was able to break that down, clarify that, because there is some serious miscommunication out there. There is some anxiety. And I am hearing that even in some workplaces that they are filing these annual declarations and paying the fee just to not get in trouble with WORC. But if you know the law, just run it by somebody else who's learned with the law. Don't do that. Don't do that. And I would hope that that's not going to be another exercise now, more strain on WORC, where when it's clarified that there any refunds now have to be done. Do you know what kind of administrative work that's going to take now? I don't know. But between the 1st of May and now that we're in July, it's not that far. Let's nip it now. Let's get it now. Let's clarify any misunderstandings. But that official misunderstanding, miscommunication has to be communicated from the authority, the responsible body, WORC or otherwise. Because I'm telling you, either the director, somebody in the operational arm, somebody needs to be speaking publicly on this to clarify it. And I don't know what type of additional training, but I think where the bigger mix-up came is when people started receiving these emails telling them, look, you need to pay $100, you need to come in and do an annual declaration. And they were actually already approved from before the 1st of May. I'm having a WhatsApp. I'll keep you thing. Good afternoon, Sabrina. Thank you for having this topic. Yes, it's a huge confusion. My daughter-in-law had to complete, hold on, let me see this. A pile of documents for her workplace in Cricket Square, filing declaration. She has been married now for 13 years. See, that's wrong. That is so wrong. Thank you, WhatsApper. That's wrong. Any certificate that was granted before the 1st of May, there is no need for a declaration. All you have to do is to write back to WORC and say, I am the holder of whatever it is you're holding, and I was granted my certificate on X date. I do not feel that I am asking you to revisit my case, because in accordance to the law, I would have been grandfathered in. I humbly await your reply. If you are an 8-year PR holder that pays an annual fee to maintain working as a carpenter, a doctor, or a partner, whatever, real estate agent, because you got yours under those 8 years, that is a different thing. You have to continue doing that, even if you were granted it before the 1st of May. Those certificate holders that automatically comes with an annual fee. You still have to pay your annual fee until you get your right to be Caymanian, your citizenship, whatever it is. In those cases, that's the only time you stop. No, but then if you get that now after the 1st of May, that's when you still have to be subject to the 3 years. What I'm trying to say is, guys, if you did not pay an annual fee before the 1st of May, you don't have to file no application for an annual declaration and pay a fee. No. But if you got the 8-year permanent residence with the right to work and you pay those fees, yes, that continues until you eventually get status. And then moving forward, because we are now in July, if let's say you are eligible to file an application for status or whatever the case may be, and it is granted in October of this year, then those persons file an annual declaration for 3 years and you pay the $100 fee. Why? Because it's granted, you'll be getting it granted after the 1st of May. Yes, even Caymanian status. Any status that is granted on the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, May, 17th of July, 20th of July, 2026, even though it's approved, because it was granted after the 1st of May of 2026, you guys have to file a declaration and pay the fee for 3 years. Mm-hmm. But anybody who was granted those before the 1st of May, something was miscommunicated to you. So thank you for that. Yes, you're more than welcome. So just in case you missed that one, there's somebody who's actually living this, saying that their daughter-in-law had to complete a pile of documents for her workplace in Cricket Square, filing declaration, and she's been married now for 13 years. So I can only imagine how much years they've had the RERC, and hopefully by now they probably got status approved. If that is the case. So unless 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, that if this person is already a status holder, WhatsApp commenter, and the status was granted before the 1st of May, then no. Whatever it is that employment age their employer is asking is a waste of paperwork. They're not subjected to that annual fee. More context. Tell me when the status was granted or when the RERC was granted, and I'll tell you whether or not. What is their current immigration status? WhatsApp. Do they have status or they're still an RERC holder? Just answer me on WhatsApp, and then I'll tell you what is the date of grant. Then I'll tell you whether or not their HR department is just giving themselves additional work, to be honest. But I'm really hoping that the HR Society, maybe those companies that have been slammed with this, we got a lot of persons. I think HSM has been doing a lot of articles as well, telling people about trying to keep up. I'm doing it from the layman standpoint, not purporting to be any lawyer by any stretch of the imagination. But for the record, I am approved and recognized by WORC, its director, to give advice in my capacity as an immigration consultant. And I have been doing that now going 20 years. So that has been renewed even after I've left political office. I have the communication to say that I've been reinstated while still being recognized with that ability to give advice and practice as an immigration consultant under, a trade and business license, which legally I hold. Yes. So this is not by any means, I'm just not coming here shooting from the hip. Anyone who's known me know I have been doing this for quite some time. And I'm just hoping that at the end of the day, I respect my a lot of persons in the business. I respect a lot of you in this consultancy business. I even have greater respect for my people in the legal field, because I ain't trying to take away no work from you at all. Oh no, could never step in your shoe. But if you know somebody's coming to you, please, and you catch on that WORC incorrectly communicated a letter to somebody, please, please use some mercy on the people and do not charge them hundreds and hundreds of dollars to get something when you know it's a genuine error and nothing will happen to the people. Come on. Come on. Let's try for once to come together to help our brothers and our sisters in the community, and by extension, help the workers of WORC as well, even though they're not benefiting from what revenue you collect. But I can understand the panic and the mayhem that is going on with some persons who don't want to get a revocation or mindful to revoke letter because you fail to file an annual declaration when in fact you were the holder of an annual certificate before the 1st of May. I know for some of you, you're like, yeah, bring it on. We will have a field day with y'all in court. Come on. People need to find that money up front to get that type of representation. So I'm hoping from a wider standpoint of things that someone internal of government, someone in chambers will hear this honest clarion call to fix it, to get it right. All we need is a public statement of some sort, because it's not nice. It's not nice. We got people that are confirming this is happening. Jess RERC, no status. She was granted this on the 5th of March, 2015. My love, there is no need for an annual declaration because in this case, and I know you said, thanks for clarifying, there is no need for this person who was granted RERC on the 5th of March, 2015 to file an annual declaration. Why? Because they were granted this before the 1st of May, 2026. So if your daughter-in-law got any form of communication from WORC, tell them to write back and says they were granted this on the 5th of March, 2015, and they are grandfathered in. You're asking them to recorrect their communication, their correspondence to you. If this is just something that the employer has taken upon themselves, then they have the right to go back in and point. You can Google it, preservation, who's grandfathered in accordance with the Cayman Protection Act of 2026, grandfather's clause, and even the guidebook has it as well, that these persons are not. So please, 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 thank you, WhatsApper, for sharing that. And this is how we continue to learn. Respectfully, as I said, I'm just hoping that, the staff don't think we're coming at them. This is about educating the public. And the more you're educated, the less mayhem you will have in there. But where it's sad, and that's if people are actually from a government agency collecting monies for this annual declaration, you would be illegally collecting that money because there's nothing that mandates in law that these people have to pay a dime or file a declaration once they were granted these particular RERCs that don't attract an annual fee for this declaration because it was miscommunicated. Good evening, caller. You're live on Sabrina Speaks.
Good evening, Miss Sabrina and Cayman. I trust everybody is well.
Yeah, thank you.
Speak it how it needs to be said, because there's a lot of that I hear going on, and it's sad that some people are having to deal with stuff that they shouldn't have to deal with at this far along into all of this. So I hope all of that gets sorted for those that needs it sorted, because that type of mayhem people don't need, and people are hurting these days. They need every dollar they can get.
But it's true. So, but it seems as though the holder is responsible. Oh, that was another thing. Some of the holders actually fell into the trap and saying, okay, but I'm working for you. Under the regulations, the holder of this certificate is responsible for paying the $100, right? So that was where another confusion. I'm like, why are we even having this conversation? You were granted your certificate, God knows when, how long. Yeah, but my employer said I need to do it. You don't have to do it. because you're grandfathered in. So that's another thing. Who pays it? Is it the
Yeah.
holder or the employer? And I'm like, oh my goodness. Yeah. So
They should have stipulated all of that in there too. So those are little things they'll have to go fix back. And,
well, it's not
you
to
know.
say that it's not in there. It's just was not properly explained, which is
Yeah.
why sometimes I have to take my time, sound repetitive in the way I deliver. It's not that I'm undermining anybody's intellect or insulting anybody, but repetition is key. But officially, I'm not the official source. I'm just trying to do my part in giving back to the community to educate the common man. But this is big.
You don't need to do.
This can be
because
big.
it affects a lot of people.
Correct. And a lot of Caymanian households.
Yeah, a lot of $100 $100 today.
Exactly.
Hello, the supermarkets aren't getting any cheaper.
Exactly. So I'm really hoping that I gave justice to this clarification, that it will put some fire under the respective departments or ministries.
Yeah.
But it's
Somebody
only
to take a look at it.
Oh yeah, but it's only taken the right person to challenge it and say, look, I have gone through so much mental anguish between my workplace and between you,
and I need
this now. And I need compensation for damage.
When the word lawyer starts calling, I think a lot of people start listening. So who knows if that's what needs to be done.
Oh, sad.
If it was me, I would probably have done it a long time ago. Anyway, let us get to the football.
Oh Lord! What are you doing? You nursing your wounds, or are you celebrating?
Oh no! I'm the biggest celebratory fan in the world. Oh my goodness. Let me say this. I think certain things, certain people wanted to happen, and Argentina got to where Argentina is because my opinion is, and there's only one football fan and one that watches it. But there were a few games that the calls could have been differently done. I think England should have went ahead. That's my opinion, but history will tell its story. And I will say this, that there can only be one winner.
Exactly.
But all are winners. None are losers. There always has to be a runner-up. And Fate had it this day that it was Spain's turn. But I did, have conversations with a few people, and I said, I think it's time we say a European football champion. And I said that's what was going to happen to a couple of people, and here we are. But
yeah, I think you mentioned that here one day.
It is what it is. We take it for what it was. It did something, I think, that a lot of people did not expect to happen right now. And that was bring some energy, some positive energy to the United States of America, to the North, and to show people that the people are different. It's the government that is doing what they're doing. Everyone is different, but it's amazing to see. And I will say this, if there's one sport or if there's something that unites the world, that brings us together, because I go back to the likes of the world famous Mr. Usain Bolt and also the world famous Mr. Asafa Powell. I follow Asafa Powell and his family. They do YouTube videos, okay?
Right.
And it's amazing to see how I commented and I said to him, I said, it's amazing to see how it seems it was just yesterday that I was watching you on the world stage do what you did so well. And I said, look at what I am watching now. I look at you and your wife. I think his wife's name is Aaliyah. And they have 3 little boys. And to see the love and care that man, obviously you had to be raised somewhere from a good family. And he shows his parents on the videos and everything, and they're humble people. But we look at these football stars and we go and we do not, on these sports world figures, but what we fail to realize here is that the sacrifices that are given just for these players to get on the world stage.
Correct.
It's not only one person, and we go back to it takes a village to raise a child. So congrats to all of the teams that got where they were. It was 48 teams this year. Did you hear the generated revenue that they said they made?
It
Or
was.
you haven't heard?
I haven't heard it,
that
but
one?
I not that I can think. I've heard it, but I don't
Okay.
remember exactly what was
Okay.
the total revenue made from the world. I can get
Let
it
me
though.
just read two
Go
things
ahead.
to you.
Mhm.
Let me go here. It says, I'm going to do the analysis of where it goes to, it compares the 2022 World Cup also, which was in Qatar. It said FIFA generated an estimated $15 billion in total revenue from the 2026 World Cup, smashing their initial projections of $11 billion. This unprecedented income was largely driven by an expanded 48-team tournament and a surge in premium ticketing and hospitality sales. And then the Qatar World Cup in 2022 generated $7.5 billion. So
How
I
much?
will say
How much?
this and I will end with that. It was $7.57 billion. So it's tripled it.
Okay.
And FIFA had only estimated this year to make $11 billion. It was due to premium ticket sales and all of this, and it breaks it down of what was on from 2022 with broadcasting, with ticket sales.
I think it was
and
it
it's
grew it.
astronomical.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
Because I'm pulled something up here, and it says Bank of
It was
America.
huge.
This one is coming from their from them that they estimated total U.S. economic impact for hosting is $20 billion, and for commercial revenue to the U.S. broadcasters and sponsors over $6 billion.
So comparing it, that was $7.57 billion 2022 Qatar, $15 billion North American World Cup. 2022 had 38 teams, 64 matches. This year had 48 teams, 104 matches. Then they break it down. Ticketing and hospitality sales, 2022, $949 million. This year's ticketing and hospitality sales, $3.6 billion.
Wow.
$3.60 billion. Broadcasting rights, 2022 was $3.43 billion. This year, $4.20 billion estimated. And it was due to more inventory, 40 extra matches, massive stadium capacity because of the NFL stadium. And it said this allowed for over 6 million tickets sold compared to 3 million in 2022 in Qatar.
Wow.
Secondary market fees. FIFA took control of ticket resellers via official marketplace, and then it collected a 15% fee from both the buyer and the seller. And they have premium hospitality that was corporate and stuff, the packages.
Oh, wow.
And that is amazing. So I'm happy.
But it's not cheap to put on a World Cup either. I mean, for what they do, so you can understand, right?
Yeah, even in the Olympics, because it's going back, 2028, I think it's in Los Angeles again. Most cities never fully recover, but there are places hopefully that can be used to nurture the next
generation.
Of the sporting world.
Correct.
But I will leave it here and say this: it's estimated the $15 billion. I hope now that when the world football leagues of every country come asking for some money, FIFA doesn't say no. And I don't think FIFA has that reputation of saying no. And I think they know how to manage it very well. So it is happy to know that that is there and that it not only energized the world in this stage of where we are with the Iraq war and everything just skyrocketing in prices, everything. We all needed, I will end with this, a distraction for a while. And
I think that's why it was so embraced.
Yes, the world embraced it because we could embrace every nationality that was present on the world stage. They came, they showed up, they did their best, and at the end of the day, there can only be one winner, but they are all winners. None are losers because, like I said, it takes a village to raise a child. And the sacrifices that parents and individuals
make
athletes make, it is amazing to know that we can still come together as a world, even with all of this madness right now, and have our favorite, but still have our backup favorite, but still respect everyone that shows up, stand up, and performs their best. And I am grateful that it energized a country, but it also energized the United States to let us realize they're human too. We're human too, but it energized a nation, the United States of America, and the world was re-energized also. And when athletes show up, they show up to do one thing, and that is to do their very best. And congratulations to all. Like I said, can only be one winner, but they are all winners. Ms. Sabrina, I thank you.
Caller, we got a question. The numbers that the numbers that you were saying, a commenter was asking, acts to the caller, is that after expenses, those numbers?
No, they didn't say. They've just estimated that.
Estimated. Okay.
Now, so it might be more, it might be less, but I don't know what their expenses are. But I'm sure United States of America footed some of the bill. I'm sure of that.
Right.
So,
well, as the days progress and the true numbers come in, because like I said, different sources, we'll learn more. But it would be interesting. I saw where the Prime Minister of Jamaica was in person there. He did a live video from the stands, and it's very interesting.
Yeah, it's we know the reggae boys, and we hope to see or the Trinidadians.
Yeah.
And we hope to see one of those teams again. But
he did make mention that he has renewed. Well, I'm not going to quote for him because you can look for his video yourself for persons. But what I got is that he was motivated then to really look at football again.
Yeah,
knowing exactly. So in layman's terms, paraphrase, I think he was energized, motivated to really look at it. When he goes.
And you train from the very young, and we realize who can be what, and we try to nurture it. But every athlete that shows up has sacrificed more than some of us could ever imagine. Because
correct.
I looked at something the other day about Nadia Comaneci, and I remember when it said when the scores were given, it showed up as a 1.00 because nobody had ever given a 10 in gymnastics for that.
Wow.
And that
so not even the system recognized it.
The system did not. All the judges gave a 10.0, and all the system could do was say 1.00. And everybody stuck in. I was shocked because I remember it. The world was shocked, and they had to come out and say, no,
it's a 10.
It is because it is a 10. We don't have that programmed in the system. And I leave it there. She showed up. She did her best, but it took a whole lot of getting up 2-3 o'clock in the morning before going to school at 8 and 9 o'clock. Because it's hard to do gymnastics like any other sport. You got to show up and respect the sport that you're in to love it. And they do it like only world athletes can do. And I say hands off to every one of them who raises whatever they do when they go on the world stage. Keep showing up because the world is watching. And I am one fan who will show up and support, even if it's from far across the ocean or the sea. But people that show up, even for supporting it, we're all doing what we're supposed to do as fans. And that is to give the respect that these athletes deserve, and that not only they deserve, but they have earned it. Because once you make it on the world stage, it doesn't matter whether you win, Miss Sabrina. You might be in the 100, and you could be coming from the Cayman Islands like we've had it so many times, but a few of them have showed up, right? And we don't need to win. We just need to show up.
That's right.
Be counted.
That's right.
Stand up, and we will do our best. Thank you.
Thank you.
And to all the athletes of the world, but so more the athletes of the Cayman Islands, and to the coaches and to the parents and to all that do their part, keep doing your part, because we have to energize the young generations coming up, and football is something that we seem to have here. We know that we can do that through that. So thank you to all who do it here. God bless the Cayman Islands, and I'm done. I'm going to enjoy my walk for the evening,
There you
stretch
go.
this old man bone.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, Miss Sabrina, and you
All
have a
right. Have a
wonderful
good
evening.
evening. Be safe on the road. Sure.
Yes, ma'am.
There we
Bye-bye.
go. So well said. And it's quite right. We have our own athletes here. And I think Jackson, oh Lord, Cover. I will be doing that tomorrow. There's a welcome party that is happening. We know that he has made his name internationally. He's just gotten drafted as well. There's a welcome party for him coming up here. I will be sharing that in the community calendar for tomorrow. And I'll also be doing a post if I haven't already done it already. But yeah, we'll tell you more about that. But that brings us to the end of this episode of Sabrina Speaks. And it is a pleasure. Thank you for all of you who took the time to message me. Thank you for the callers. And definitely for all of you commenters and, of course, my content creators in Bloom and words of encouragement, of course, and wisdom from Damian Henry. To everybody, Donna is in the house as well. Miss Joyce Ann was also joining us as well. So good to have you all here with us. Until tomorrow, please be safe on our roads. Do have a good evening. God bless. See you. Love you lots. Tomorrow.
That's a wrap for today's edition of Sabrina Speaks. Thank you for tuning in and for being part of the conversation. Remember, the dialogue doesn't stop here. Stay engaged, stay informed, and most importantly, stay empowered. We'll be back tomorrow at 5 p.m., same time, same place, right here on CMR TV and radio, where your voice matters and your truth is heard. Until then, K-Man, take care of yourself and each other.
That's it for today's edition of Sabrina Speaks, where your voice matters, your story counts, and your truth is always welcome. Join us weekdays from 5 until 6:30 p.m. right here on CMR TV as we dive into the topics that matter most to you. Catch the show live or on demand at cmrtv.com. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram so you never miss a moment. Until next time, stay informed, stay engaged, and always speak your truth.